and my original presentation was going to be on careers in IT, but I decided to maybe do a little demo of some tools that some security professionals might use. Um, Granted, there are a million tools, and some of them are a lot better than than what I'll use on this demo. But as far as time sake, I'll just show you two of these that I've used. This first one here is going to be called EtherCap, and it's going to be used for man-in-the-middle attacks, which are when you act as the router in between a victim machine and the actual router, so all the traffic goes through your machine first. So yeah, this is how you start it up. When you're running Linux, hopefully you have everything installed right. And so you just start up a terminal and start up EtherCap. It has to be root in order to work right. And then if you are trying to sniff passwords over HTTPS, which is an encrypted traffic, then you have to uncomment the use of IP tables. This will let EtherCap fake the security certificate in between the secure websites. Most websites use a secure connection now, so this is probably what you're gonna have to do. But if you don't need to do this, then it's a lot better not to, because the user has to accept the certificate, because it'll say it's not a legitimate one. But yeah. And then so you start it up, and then in the sniffing menu, you select Unified Sniffing, and then that will open up a little box, and you just select your network interface. Usually it's the WLAN 0, it's the wireless network. There's also Ethernet and other wireless cards if you have them. They'll all be listed there. And then from here you go to hosts at the top, and then you scan for hosts. This will scan all the local network that you're on for users and routers. It'll scan for routers too. So usually, like at home, you'll just have 5 users and a router. And then you go to the targets tab, and you add the router to target 2 and the host or hosts to target 1. You're going to want to add either 1 to about 3 hosts. That's about all your computer can handle. If you try running 200 hosts, like if you do this at school or something, and there's 200 or 300 hosts, then it'll end up dropping all the packets for every host on there, so it won't be good. It won't be good for the network at all. A lot of people will lose internet, and it won't be. They'll probably cut you off from internet. And if no hosts are added, like if you're on your home network, then all the computers will be targeted, but hopefully it's only a few. And then we enter man in the middle. You go to man in the middle up at the top, and then you want to do ARP poisoning, and then you want to sniff remote connections. Excuse me. And this will poison all of the man in the middle, or it'll poison all of the targets in target 1. And after man in the middle attack has begun, you select start menu and then go to start sniffing. This will, as the packets are traveling through you, this will look at all the packets and see if there's any data that you can use. it'll sniff username, passwords, what website they're going to, and if you spoof to another website, it'll show you that it did actually occur. Alright, so to continue, we're going to go to the plugins tab. So enter that by going to the plugins menu at the top, and then manage plugins, and then you're going to want to scroll down to the check poison plugin just to make sure there's poisoning between the the target and the router, and from there you're going to want to enter or double click the DNS spoof plugin, and that will actually start spoofing the DNS. I think I'll show you an example on the next slide. Yep. So what I have on my plugin to spoof to is anytime so anytime the the victim goes to Google or types Google in the URL at all, it could be www.google.com, just google.com, or anything like that. It will redirect them to the supplied IP address that I put in, which is facebooks.com's IP address. So with that, you could spoof, let's say, the attacker wanted to spoof anything from like wellsfargo.com to their fake Wells Fargo site. They would just use this tool. Of course, you have to be on the same network, but yeah, it just kind of shows how it's good to know who's on your network and keep it encrypted and secure. Otherwise, someone could just hop onto your network and spoof anything that you go to their website or anything they wanted. I'll go through filters real quick. You can create a filter. You could do anything from dropping a connection between a host and a router, or you could change every picture on a website to a picture that you supply. You could drop packets going to any supplied web address. So like you could drop packets going to facebook.com or any IP address that Facebook has. And here's a test that I did that I went to Facebook's unencrypted site, and I just did a test, enter test@u.com as my email, and then password was C, and Ettercap actually caught that and displayed it on the screen and showed what website it was coming from. So yeah, this is just something that's kind of fun to play with, but it could be I guess detrimental if an attacker is on your network using this. So it's good to know just to prevent against it. And that's it. Okay, I'm just going to show a quick demo on the AirCrack suite. So this is mainly used for getting access to encrypted Wi-Fi networks, or cracking the passwords from WEP, WPA, wireless networks. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to enable monitor mode on your Wi-Fi device. So start it there, and then from there you're going to start sniffing for wireless networks around you. what this does is it just hops from channel to channel and gets you all the information of the wireless access points around you and the stations connected to them. And then from here, you're going to pick out a certain station that you want. Let's see, let's choose this one because it's mine. So you're going to stop that, and then you're going to choose the channel, which is 1, the BSS ID, which is what I have copied there. GEC and all that. I won't do it now because I already saved capture files that I need. And then /W is going to be the file you're going to save it to. And what wireless device you're going to use, which is Mon0. Okay, so I would run that, but it's not going to work, so I won't. So from there, it will start sniffing all of the IVs that you need. You need about 30 to 40,000 initialization vectors. It's I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but I guess ARP works by broadcasting a query for an IP, and the device responds. And if you're using WEP, this is the first attack that we're going to go through. It doesn't protect against ARP replay. So when you intercept a packet, you can send it out again and again, and that's ARP replay. And that'll just create more initialization vectors that you can capture, which will be the data right here. And there's an aggressive way that you can use that is you basically de-authenticate the client. It's AirPlay, and then however many times you want to send that de-authentication packet. -A is going to be the access point, so this BSS ID here is going to go in there, and then -C is the client, so whatever this client MAC address is going to go in there, and then the device that you're using. That will de-authenticate the client, and then it will create more traffic, more initialization vectors will be sent back and forth. And also, if you're using WPA, that's a good way to get handshakes, because the client will have to disconnect and then reconnect to the router, which institutes the whole three-way handshake, and then you can get the capture from it and then crack it from there. So I have a few packets, or a few capture files that I've already created. Let's see. I will show you. Okay, so for these capture files, the first one that we're going to look at is this demo2. And in order to, it's a web crack, or crack attempt, I guess. These are all initialization vectors that AeroDump captures and stores in this cap file, and as long as you have enough, it'll try to crack it for you, AirCrack will. So we had enter this command, which is aircrack, which is the program that we went on with. Dash B is the BSSID of the access point, and then the file demo2 cap. And we hit enter, and that will run. It'll read the packets, and it'll decrypt the key. Right here is what we have. This is the web key for the wireless network. And it's as easy as that to crack web, which is why you shouldn't use it. And as far as a WPA, you need the handshake first, and when you're scanning and sniffing wireless networks, you capture a handshake in time unless you de-authenticate. And once you have that handshake, you can disconnect, and you don't have to be connected to that network anymore, and then you can just crack it. It depends on your dictionary, which it goes through and tests the key against it. So however big your dictionary, or however small, I guess, it depends on if it's actually, if the password's actually in there. If it's not, then of course it won't crack it for you. So you start up aircrack here, /W is going to be the word list that you know, the dictionary. The one that's in Kali Linux. And since it is zipped right now, this isn't going to work. So we're going to have to unzip it really quick. And since it's such a big file, it takes a little bit to unzip. Okay, and then from this last command, we just want .text, and then you'll enter the -B command for the BSSID of the MAC address, which is going to be the same as this one because it's on my own network. Copy and paste that, and you need the handshake capture that you got previously. And from here it'll run through the dictionary, and once it finds a key, it'll show you that it found it. Of course, password's an easy password to crack. It was way at the top in the dictionary, but this could take hours or days, I guess, depending on how big your dictionary is. And so this kind of gives you an idea of how insecure wireless networks are, how easily they are to crack. So you're going to want to use a longer key for your encryption on your network, and don't use WEP ever. A good thing to do also is to disable the WPS pin, and because there's an attack against that where you can get it in at the max is I think like 4 hours to get your password. So that's not a good thing to use. Of course, there's a ton of other tools that you could have used, like Metasploit is a good one, which will, once you're on a network or you have access to a network, there are a ton of tools that you can use to leverage access and to do a whole bunch of crazy things, but that's too broad of a scope, and there's just too much to explain in there. So yeah, this was my presentation on two of the tools that a security professional might use. Of course, this was all done on my own network. I owned the wireless router, and it was only my other computer that was connected, so no other computer, I guess, was harmed in the making of this. So this is not something good to do at school Carriers Wireless Network, considering it's illegal. This is just for educational purposes. And I hope you enjoyed my presentation.